Is this streaming? Yes. Yes, this is. Good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thought I'd pop on. I was having quite a quiet evening, so I thought I'd pop on following what had happened earlier today. I got to the gym and I thought, well, you know, there's something worth talking about here, so I thought I'd pop on and just have a quick chat about how I feel the Amber Heard Jonny Depp trial went. Interesting day, the closing events. But in particular, the fact that it seemed like Amber Heard's team seemed to get it wrong with the timing. They seem to be, they seem to have overlooked that or misinterpreted something. And when the judge said, you know, you've got 39 minutes and you've got 6 minutes, they seemed a little bit like, oh, we've messed up here. But overall, I mean, how do I think that the entire trial went? Well, let's start off here. I feel like I don't know whether or not Jonny Depp realised this going in, but regardless of the outcome of this trial, I think he's in a better position now than he was. And I think that that's because he was able to show himself. And it's not a pretty process that he went through to show himself, to actually show what was going on in his life. And he exposed a lot of things about himself that most people wouldn't want on display. As for Amber Heard, on the other hand, she really exposed herself. This did not do her any favours at all. I don't wish any harm comes to Amber Heard. I don't wish anything bad for her. But the fact of the matter is, we all saw her. We all saw her week after week after week. We know, the world knows, regardless of what the jury decides. We know she lied. We saw it. And I don't know how you think that's going to benefit anyone when the rest of the planet is watching. And this whole thing whereby she was like, oh, I didn't smirk, I never smirked, I didn't, and then proceeded to smirk. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. This is one of the worst, putting her on the stand was one of the worst decisions her legal team could have made. It's one of the worst decisions her legal team could have made. On the other hand, you know, her legal team was dealing with the fact that I firmly believe that they went into this feeling like it was something they could win, and then realising that actually the goalposts keep shifting here. They keep changing, and things keep coming out that don't hold this woman in a very good light at all. No, look, let's be truthful here. Jonny Depp was not held in a very good light, but Jonny Depp admitted those things. Like, when they said Jonny Depp abused drugs and alcohol, nobody went, oh, no. It was very much a case of, yeah, clearly. But then they tried to build the case then that because he did that to himself, that he's willing to abuse other people. And most of the time somebody who's willing to do that to themselves isn't willing to do that to other people. It can be toxic. It can be an environment whereby the other person gets sucked into it. Usually in those circumstances, though, it tends to be that I would have thought that it would be more of a similar personality trait as opposed to it being one-sided. You know, that it would have to flow both ways. Do I believe Jonny Depp committed violent acts against Amber Heard? No, I don't. Do I believe that he might have struck her in defense? That's possible. But do I believe that he was an actual intentionally abusive to her? No, I don't. And quite honestly, what some of the evidence that they were presenting in terms of videos of him banging cupboards. First of all, the video was taken when he was in a particularly frustrated place. We've all been there. We can all sympathise with that. With losing your shit because you're not in a very good mood, because you've got out of bed the wrong side, things have rubbed you up the wrong way, things have gone wrong. We can all identify with that. The fact that Jonny Depp was filmed doing it, it doesn't harm him. It humanises him. And what happened with Amber Heard, in particular with what happened with Amber Heard when she took the stand, in particularly the last time. She was cross-examined by Camille Vasquez, and Camille in this has been absolutely dynamite. What a role model. What an absolute role model for anyone. Not just girls. I know people are saying she's a good role model for young girls. She's a good role model for anyone. She was just straight up educated, just absolutely cut through the bull. Had no time for hyperbole. It was just literally just get to the point. And absolutely amazing. What an absolute diamond. So when she took the stand for the final time, what was interesting was the fact that how Amber Heard responded did more damage than any evidence they could have presented, because Camille could have been asking her questions about the McDonald's menu. It wouldn't have made a difference. It absolutely wouldn't have made a difference. She could have asked her almost anything, because what Camille was doing was actually exposing Amber's personality to the jury. And we all saw it. We all saw her behaviour on the stand. She became aggressive. She became combative. She was smirking. She was snarky. She was short-tempered. So what Camille was doing, really, Camille could have been asking her anything. Do you like rubber balloons? Just cutting her off. Just actually just kept poking her until she snapped, and she did. She snapped, and even at one point, then Camille was like, can you not direct your remarks towards the jury, please? It's, so the damage there was that they put her on the stand more than anything else. As for Jonny Depp, clearly there are issues with Jonny Depp, right? Clearly he drugs and alcohol, but drinking a lot and doing drugs does not equal an abusive person. It doesn't bashing cupboards doesn't equal abusive. In fact, I would say that if you are directing your energy into smashing cupboard doors, I would say that you're probably less likely to commit assault on somebody. I would say that you're actually far less likely because you're exerting the energy and you're letting the anger out in other ways. I think that's something that was overlooked. Is the fact that actually, anybody who's got a temper will just kick the shit out of something. But they do that so they don't have to kick the shit out of somebody next to them. I've done it. Bloody hell, we've all. I think we've all had that moment whereby, it's like son of a bitch, and then just gone crazy. But you do that, and then you vent your anger, and suddenly it's gone, and suddenly it's expelled from you, and so you don't need to take it out on others. Whereas Amber Heard seemed to be, I mean, it was a different sort. But here's the big difference as well. Here's what they forget that we saw that the jury didn't see, is them leaving the courthouse. We saw them as they left, and it was a totally different demeanour. It was a totally different thing. We saw the way Johnny Depp interacted with the deputies. We saw the way that he interacted with all the people outside. He was very kind, very very generous. He was very very welcoming and grateful, I should say. And then there was Amber Heard, who was like, my shit don't stink. Get on my way. That was how it seemed. The other thing to remember here as well is that what I think didn't play well for Amber Heard, okay, and Amber Heard's legal team, was that when Johnny Depp's legal team called a witness to the stand. Let's look at this another way. When Amber Heard's legal team called a witness to the stand, they were cross-examined by her team, or his team I should say, and they always attacked the evidence that was being presented. They didn't try to humiliate the person on the stand. They attacked the evidence that they were presenting. When Johnny Depp's legal team were putting people on the stand, Amber Heard's team were trying to humiliate them. That's a big difference. That's a huge thing. Anytime that they would get somebody on the stand, it would be like, you're just here for your 15 minutes of fame, aren't you? You're just here for the money that they're willing to pay you because you've charged them a lot of money to be on this stand. And they tried that several times. I mean, the TMZ guy knocked Elaine back by pointing out, actually, love, if anybody's here for the money, it's not me. Which I thought was wonderful. I thought that that was a badass moment. Like that was a I'm going to take you down. I mean, badass for a court proceeding. You don't expect that. The week went well. I feel for Johnny Depp. Anyway, I felt the week went well for Johnny Depp. Almost exclusively, any expert that they called to the stand, they all seemed they were different. They were just on a different scale. Like all the professionals that they called for Amber Heard looked like they found them at a bus stop. It was just like it was so weird. But then when they pulled up the witnesses for Johnny Depp, they seemed professional. They seemed very professional. They seemed to be these very calm, very well spoken, very well orientated. They seem to absolutely know their shit. And then you have these people that they threw on the stand for Amber Heard, and they just seem to be very one-sided in their assessments, And that's the other thing as well, is the fact that all of Johnny Depp's people weren't saying, "Oh yeah, this is definitely this is definitely the how it must be." They were kind of like, "Well, that's That could happen. It could happen. Yeah, we can't rule that out. It's unlikely, but it could. Um, and I really felt sorry um, for Morgan Knight. I mean, I just hope that the trailer park does extremely well out of this. I really hope it does. I know he wasn't planning on getting anything out of it, but I really genuinely hope that Hicksville does well from this because that man got on the stand to tell people what he saw. He didn't get on the stand to be attacked by a legal team. A legal team that have had years of training of pulling facts apart. You pull the facts apart. You don't pull the witness apart. They're not there for that. They're not. And the attack on him, you could see the guy. The guy felt like he was being assaulted on the stand, which wasn't right. That wasn't right at all. I'm hoping that didn't wash well with the jury. I really do hope that the jury saw that and went, come on, you know. I would not have, if I had been sat on that jury and I was watching that happen. I would not have been happy with their legal team. I know it doesn't, you're not supposed to weigh up when it comes to the evidence, but it just felt like cheap, underhanded shots. You know, it just felt like you've got nothing here, and you're just trying to ruin a person's, character. At the end of the day, they're trying to say that this guy was a liar, or he was only there for glory, and clearly not. You know, he was there because. And by the way, he's gone back on Twitter with other people who were there, and there's more to come out, because the other people now that were there have also, not only have they backed him up, they've gone, no, we've got stories to tell. So this is not going to look good for Amber Heard at all. Then you've got the whole thing whereby Amber, you have this whole issue with her lying continuously, and she's completely forgotten that people were watching. She must think that people have short memories, and she doesn't seem to realise that if you put it on online, it's there, it's online, we can see it, we can scrutinise it, we can go back and forth. We can do something that live can't do, which is press the rewind button and watch it in closer detail. And unfortunately for her, there have been plenty of people that have been able to disprove, not only disprove, but actually illustrate just how wrong and how much of a lie she'd committed. It's particularly when it had been illustrated that the staircase event that they were talking about, we had one event, we had 3 stories from 2 people, and not one lined up. Not one. That means there's something wrong there, and you've only got to visualize it to realize that it went completely wrong for her. You know, they tried to say then, in closing arguments, in the closing arguments of this, they tried to say that, oh no, he ran up the stairs and tried to push Whitney down the stairs. That's not how physics works. It's just not. You can pull somebody down because of the angle that you're at, but you would have to get up onto the stairs, turn round, and then, but that's a push. This is a pull. And they tried to switch that in the last statements. They tried to switch that and say, oh no, we meant pull instead of push. No, you didn't. You didn't. We heard that a couple of times now, and at no point, it was only later on when people started pulling your story apart, and you've they were trying to cover their asses because these things had come out and we'd seen it. And then there was the whole bit where she got flustered on the stand. Now, it doesn't mean to say that she's lying about what happened to her, but it doesn't do her any favours. It doesn't do her any favours. For her to hit the stand with what she was saying, for her to, even if she was making some of it up, you can honestly say that she might not be making it all up. That actually, perhaps, something of what she said was true. And that can't be disregarded. It also means that just because Jonny Depp was a bit more likeable and a bit more, I don't want to use suave, but he was much more relaxed. He was much more engaging. It doesn't mean to say that he's innocent in this either. But however, the problem you have there is that almost all of what Jonny Depp said seemed believable. Even some of the horrific stuff that was, some of the stuff in the texts. I laughed at some of the stuff in the text, and it's because I think I've got a similar mindset of uncensored humour. I didn't see it as this guy attacking this woman. He was venting for sure. Was he seeing it as this is legit? I'm gonna do this for real. No, I don't believe so. I think that what he was saying in his text messages was very much that of somebody who was frustrated to the point of having to blow out on somebody, and that's what your friends are for, really. That's what anybody who's been in that sort of situation whereby you have to let your temper go, you have to let it out, you have to vent somehow, and you will say all sorts of shit, but it's just talking shit. That's all it is. It's not trying to. I mean, this was crazy. At one point, Amber Heard's lawyers tried to say that Jonny Depp tried to get her fired from the film by texting a friend. It was like, I want to fire off that film. Okay, so you wanted to fire off the film, but he didn't tell Warner Brothers that. He told somebody who doesn't even work at Warner Brothers. I mean, that's not gonna work, is it? You're not gonna be able to go, I want this person fired from Greg's Bakery, so I went and told the guy at the library. The math on that doesn't work. It just doesn't add up. So yeah, I mean, there was a lot that happened in this trial. Now, another thing to remember about this was the fact that Amber Heard first claimed that she didn't have anything to do. She didn't write the article, or I believe it was like, they kept banging on about the headline all the time. I was like, no, it's not the headline that was the problem. She tweeted the article. She actually tweeted the article, which she did actually write. So then it was a case of, well, did she share that media? Yes, she did. Now, was that media... It doesn't matter how you share that media, it was shared. You can't say that it wasn't. So regardless of all the crap that they've gone through in this trial, it's a very, very binary argument. If as far as I'm concerned, did she republicise a defamatory argument, a defamatory story that, as far as we can tell, was fictional? Yeah. I know you might be asking yourself, well, why would she want to do that? Why would she want to paint herself as the victim? I don't think she was. I don't think she was painting herself as the victim. I think that she was painting herself as a survivor. And I think that's very, very different. I think what Jonny Depp, when he was there, when he was on the stand, I think that when he was talking about it, yeah, it was horrible stuff. You know, he was talking about some events in his life, very personal events in his life, and of course, it doesn't paint him in a good. It doesn't paint a good picture of him. To admit, you know, that yeah, he was angry and drunk, and he had, you know, done drugs and all that stuff, but it still didn't add up to abuse. At least not of Amber Heard. The abuse of himself, yes. But there's other things that were brought up in this case, and I don't believe will affect the outcome for the jury. But these sorts of things, for example, whereby where they were trying to prove the attack or the bottle and all this stuff, I don't think that matters. I really don't think it matters. The whole thing whereby they went to on the Orient Express, I don't think it matters. I really I don't. Here's the interesting thing. Does anything that Jonny Depp did disprove anything he said? Because I don't think it does. At the same time, Amber Heard might have been telling some of the truth, but is surrounded in so many lies that it's difficult to disseminate the truth. It's difficult to extract the truth from that and know which one is... Because you're the person that was calling almost every witness that stepped on the stand a liar. The police, for God's sake. Look, I totally get that the police can lie. But it wasn't... It was everybody. It was everybody that said anything bad against Amber Heard. And that did not add up. It can't be everybody's wrong except me. It can't be. And, you know, this whole thing of she's not going to get much work because of this. I'm going to tell you straight. Aside from Aquaman, I couldn't point it out in a lineup. I genuinely, I honestly don't. Without looking at her IMDb, I genuinely couldn't tell you what else she's been in. I honestly don't know. So for them to make the argument of this could damage her, her credibility, her acting career, and so on. I genuinely couldn't tell you what else she's been in. I genuinely couldn't say, oh, she's done this. But more than that, though, do you think calling the head of Warner Brothers DC a liar is going to benefit your career? Does anybody believe that? Because that's what happened in the closing arguments. They tried to say that the head of Warner Brothers DC was lying when he said the reason for... And what he said was the reason for that any changes were due to the fact that she had no chemistry with Jason Momoa. That's not to say that they thought she was a bad actor. That's not to say that they. It's just that they put these two actors together and the chemistry wasn't there. The personalities didn't clash. They didn't meet. They didn't mesh. It didn't go well. So that's not going to benefit her career. No, I know it was. I think it was probably a legal team that actually made that claim. Okay, I don't want to say that it was directly, but they made that claim on her behalf. So yeah, so the everybody, the TMZ was lying, the trailer park guy was lying, the head of Warner Brothers was lying, Kate Moss was lying. It was just bonkers. And then to turn around and say, well, this could have damaged my. No, calling the head of Warner Brothers DC a liar is going to damage your career. Like that, it's not going to help, is it? So out of this, here's where I'm at. Okay, here's where I'm at with this. Does this matter in the long term? In the long haul, does this matter if Johnny Depp wins or loses this case? Does it actually matter? Yes, in terms of people that are victims of abuse, particularly men who are victims of abuse, because it's so one-sided right now. That you could be in an abusive relationship if you're a man, and you could be a victim of abuse, and more than likely it'll get brushed aside because that's how it is. Because you're a man, they're a woman, and that's how it goes. So in terms of that, yes. Personally, for Johnny Depp though, I mean, he come out of this looking good. He come out of this looking good. Better than what he went in. Amber Heard, on the other hand, her career's done. I mean, I wouldn't want to work with her if I was an extra. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, it's I could expect to see her maybe in a Sharknado movie. That's probably where it's at. And she would probably have to pay for that herself. To be in that film, I can't imagine anybody wanting a. I genuinely, I feel bad for her in a way, because it's. I don't expect anybody to be malicious to her, but she's done all this to herself. It's not good. Johnny Depp has come out of this looking better than he went in, and she's come out looking far worse. Far worse. Yeah, I mean it's done, isn't it? Obviously, whatever the jury decides is what the jury decides. But in the social media circles of the jury, the social media jury, Johnny Depp won this easily. I mean, she lost it. Oh God, I would have said she lost it in this final week more than anything else. When you start burying people and accusing the witnesses of just being there for the 15 minutes of fame, that's when, because again, Johnny Depp's team didn't do that to her witnesses. They pulled apart their testimonies based upon their the claims that they made, but they didn't attack them and say, you're just here for the money, you're just here for your 15 minutes of fame, which is what Heard's team did countless times. And the jury would have picked up on that. I'm sure the jury would have picked up on that. I picked up on it. A lot of people picked up on it. I'm fairly certain the jury would have picked up on that as well. Where does this go from here? On the other side of this, Johnny Depp is going to get work out of this. Johnny Depp is going to, he's going to be all right. The world is going to make sure Johnny Depp is going to be all right. Amber Heard, do you want to work with her? I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure people do. I think we saw her smirking in final arguments all the time. She still can't cry. Oh God! I apologise because I was on the live stream earlier, and every time we cut to her, it was just like, still can't cry. She still can't cry. Oh, but yeah. As for the results now, I mean, I personally, I rule in favour of Johnny Depp. That's where I find myself, because when it's all said and done, she admitted that op-ed was there. Bit of, how be Chris? A bit of a come down from Space 1999. Yeah, it is. It was, but it's been a hell of a week. So I wanted to pop on and do this live because I've been sort of caught up with work and everything, and I thought I've got a half hour, so I'm gonna jump on and do this. Considering I've been watching it relentlessly since it started. But I mean, it's been look. I should talk about some of the funny stuff that's happened in this though. I mean, you know, Dr. Spiegel, what a character. I mean, geez. Like I said, it felt like Johnny Depp's team found all these experts everywhere, and Amber Heard's team just like went out to the skip and found whoever they could drag in. But I mean, seriously, what a character. You know, when he asked him, you know, were you surprised? Would you be surprised if I told you Marlon Brando wore a earpiece? And he was like, isn't he dead? Well, he wouldn't be needing a earpiece. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Holy crap. This person's giving testimony here. Yeah, that was just bonkers. And when the bodyguard kept breaking down, he couldn't control himself and kept breaking down in laughter. That was a moment. Camille Vasquez absolutely destroying people on the stand. What a what an absolutely fantastic thing to see when she literally tore. I mean, Amber Heard didn't have to worry about abuse from Johnny Depp because Camille Vasquez tore her a new arsehole. I mean, it was just it was brutal. And again, she's come out of this looking amazing. Absolutely, she was actually more famous coming out of this than Amber Heard. I wanted to defend me, and I'm not even on trial. Yeah, she was amazing. Elaine did not look good. But then again, is that Elaine's fault? If she's defending somebody that has lied through her teeth, she can only really work with the material that she's got. So, yeah, you know. But even then, when she was calling the other psychologist Dr. Curry by mistake, it was laughable. Dr. Shannon Curry. Oh my God. Dr. Shannon Curry, Camille Vasquez, two amazing women. Absolutely amazing. Top notch. I mean, Dr. Curry, she literally was absolutely professional when she got on that stand. She was absolutely brilliant. You know, she was concise. She wasn't overplaying what she was saying. She explained things thoroughly in detail, but wasn't filling it. You know, she explained things to the point whereby you can understand what she was getting at. You know, and particularly when they ended up having the actual document there, and it was like saying, "You follow these instructions," and then it was like when they went to Amber Heard's psychologist, and she was like, oh yeah, no, I didn't do that because I didn't have to because I was filling it in a different book. Well, you didn't present that book in evidence to do, so now it's all hearsay. And that's the majority. That's the real problem with Amber Heard's um, defense, really, in this, is the fact that it's all hearsay. All of it. Like, like even her witnesses were like, how do you know this happened? And they were like, well, Amber told me. Objection, Your Honour, hearsay. And then it was like, well, this happened. And it's like, well, objection, Your Honour, speculation. They kept arriving at these junctions whereby they were just getting shut down. And then, in terms of Johnny Depp's defence, it was a case of, well, yeah, but you saw the video. You've heard Amber Heard saying she hit him. We've got witnesses that have seen her be physical with him. It just, I feel like this have exploded out of something that really, I'm not going to say mounted out of a molehill because that's totally wrong, but it feels like we got caught up in the final argument. It feels like we were witness to this thing that just kept building up. I mean, the other part of this was the fact that they mentioned, Amber Heard being in the UK trial. She didn't have to be there. She didn't have to be there. She was there the entire time, every day. She didn't have to be there once. It wasn't about her. It was Johnny Depp suing the Sun. So she didn't even have to show up at all. They could have called her as a witness. But aside from that, she didn't have to be there. So, and then to try to make here's where I feel like they should have gone a little harder. When they were dealing with TMZ, they should have exposed who gave them the video. Because I don't think does it. Here's the thing: does that matter though? I mean, it would make sense because Amber Heard said she didn't do it. But if they could find the source, it would have to have come from her, right? Because when you make a video, you have copyright, and then TMZ had copyright, so you have to give the copyright to TMZ for them to have it. So it means that the original copyright holder must have signed it over. I mean, that's, as far as I'm aware, that's how copyright works. You can't just assume copyright. You're assumed automatic copyright for the initial source material. But for TMZ to be able to have copyright, you have to sort of give it to them. You can't just go, well, I got copyright, because otherwise we'd all have copyright. There would be no piracy. So for that to happen, she must have signed it over. She was the copyright holder, as far as I'm aware. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. But as far as I can tell, if you are the content creator, you own the copyright to that. And it's automatic. I don't believe you have to sign for it. But if you want the copyright for something like that, you have to sign it over. So I would have actually, if I was questioning the TMZ, I mean, maybe they didn't have the time. I don't know. But yeah, it was something that they should have. I would have definitely have leaned into. I mean, we got some really interesting stuff as well out of this from some of the experts, and I mean, one of the most laughable ones. I mean, absolutely laughable, was when they tried to put. And I mean, they did this to do the woman any favors either, which is when they tried to put the Hollywood expert on the stand, and she tried to make the claim that Amber Heard's breakout moment was Aquaman, and that she could have asked for, what was it, like 45, 50 million over the next couple of years because this was her breakout moment, and she was comparable to people like Jason Momoa, Gal Gadot. I mean, did we not all laugh at this? But when you heard the person spout this from their mouth, did you not think, Jesus Christ, what are you on about? Um, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, you know, I heard Amber Heard's name in Aquaman. I'd heard of Amber Heard, but I couldn't tell you what she had done before Aquaman. But I knew what Jason Momoa had done, because I'd seen Stargate Atlantis. I'd seen Conan, I'd seen Game of Thrones. He was in some of the biggest shows. Do you know what I mean? And then plus he was also in, briefly we found out that he was going to be Aquaman way back when they were doing Batman versus Superman. So his name was even mentioned way back then, before there was even going to be an Aquaman. But his name was associated with the film. That's when we found out when Ezra Miller was going to be the Flash, when we found out, you know, these sorts of things. So there was a couple of years of build before they even made Aquaman. So to assume that because she played Mira, a supporting character, was going to be, you know, oh, she was in a blockbuster film, therefore, I mean, I hate to tell you this, but that's not how things work. And for an expert to assume that is just plainly wrong. Because there are plenty of people's careers that were in the leads in blockbuster films that didn't pan out that way in Hollywood afterwards. Mark Hamill. Look, we all love Mark Hamill. What a guy. Fantastic. The greatest Joker. I don't care what you say. Right? But following Return of the Jedi, and don't get me wrong, I like The Guyver. I think The Guyver's a fun film. But it's not, according to this expert, that is not where Mark Hamill should have been. I'm grateful because we ended up having the Joker out of him. And that wouldn't have happened any other way. But, and the Trickster, by the way, but following Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, according to this expert, Mark Hamill should have been dominating the box offices. Now, some of the people in Star Wars that happened for, Harrison Ford, for example, but it didn't happen for Carrie Fisher either. So, all these examples that they started throwing out of these trajectories of where these so-called Hollywood stars were going to be was total bull crap. You cannot predict somebody's career in Hollywood. You cannot. Anything. Lindsay Lohan, is it? There's another one that crashed and burned. I mean, Jesus Christ. But to compare it to people like, what was it, Chris Pine was another one? Chris Pine, this guy was back with, what's her name, Anne Hathaway, wasn't he? Doing like Princess Diaries or something like that? Way back in like 2000, 2005, 2006, something like that. He'd been working on his career since then. And then they're going to compare Amber Heard to him. He was Captain Kirk in 3 films. Okay, I don't like those films, but he was still the lead. Can you think, what has she been a lead in? Has she ever been a lead in a blockbuster? Because I don't think she has been. I genuinely, it boggles the mind, some of these arguments that were being played. When they had the whole argument with the doctors, what? F for what, Chris? What, her acting? Or is that just her grade? Is that the grade you're giving her? Yeah, I mean, when the doctor started arguing with the, leading part in the in the what? Bog? Oh yeah. Oh come on, no. I mean, here's a question for you, right? If Amber Heard hadn't have done this trial, would you be thinking that? Would you have a bit higher standard of her? Would you be because my perspective on this is that I had a lower regard for Jonny Depp before this trial, and what I had known of Amber Heard was very limited. Um, but I would have said I actually was more that way. I would have said that I would have probably gone, she doesn't seem that bad. She doesn't seem that way. Following this trial, though, I mean, it's just literally gone, you know. I tell you something straight, right? Not that I'm into the drugs and alcohol and everything. Anybody who knows me knows I'm fairly, teetotal. Um, but actually, if you were going to spend a night in the company of Jonny Depp or Amber Heard, who would you choose? I firmly believe more people would rather spend an evening sitting down with Jonny Depp as opposed to her, because I think that the way she presented herself throughout this, it's just been a constant decline in her character. And putting her on the stand was just sort of like I said, when they did the closing arguments, it just felt like Camille Vasquez could have said anything, absolutely anything, and asked any question under the sun. It didn't matter. All she had to do was just keep cutting her off. That's all she had to do. Because every time she cut her off, she was there. And it was exposing a character to the jury. It no matter what it was, every single time Camille was just like, and you were lying about this, weren't you? And before she could finish her answer, she was like, we know you were. And then she just got really, her demeanour was coming out. And you could see that this woman doesn't like confrontation. This woman doesn't like people not mistreating her, but not respecting her that way. You know? Because it seems to me that she's been used to people doing what she tells them to do, working for her. She's used to having, she was living in penthouses in Los Angeles. She's been paying for staff, so it's always been yes sir, yes miss, no miss, 3 bags full miss. And now she's got this person in front of her saying, you're an absolute liar. And now she's like, and then it started coming out. It started sort of, the cogs were sort of grinding. They would just, and you could see it in her face as well. And for this woman to then turn around and say, I was never smirking in court, and literally in the closing arguments, she's got this just absolute, I don't want to say slappable face because that's inappropriate, but you know what I mean. She was making faces that you were just like, come on. These people can still see you. They sit in right there. It was just, it was almost painful at times. It was like she forgot the cameras were there. It was like she forgot other people could see her. Overall though, the biggest winner in this is definitely Camille. I mean, she is made for life. That girl is absolutely made for life. She could write books on this, and I'll be honest with you. At one point I felt like Elaine was actually taking notes from Camille, because she was just absolutely on fire, tearing people apart. It wasn't, and again, that's what it came down to. It wasn't that she was trying to tear the character apart. It was the fact that she was tearing apart the arguments, the actual thing where it was like, no, that's hearsay. That's absolute hearsay. That's speculation. There's no foundation for that. There's no. It was a masterclass of professionalism. And yeah, I can't remember the guy's name. Before did they call him the Wizard Killer? Is that what they call him? This was a guy that was. He was pretty good as well. I'll be honest. When he started, I didn't see how good he was until later on when he started pulling apart the photographic data. Because they had two experts on that, and they had their expert, and because their expert was like, no, you can't do that with that software. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't do that. It doesn't. You need this. The other one was like, oh yeah, no, you can say this. But the problem was that they never really sort of asked him about, well, yeah, but you cannot. I mean, wizard is that what they call him, the wizard killer? I gotta find out his name. I genuinely. But he was like, you telling me that this photo here and this photo here are two different photos, even though they were identical. It was just like the saturation had been turned up on one. I can't find his name. Doesn't matter. But no, he became. I found him more endearing as well as he went on, because again, he was right. He was absolutely right. We were all looking at those photos and going, well, clearly that's been altered. Clearly it has. And visibly, you can go, yeah, that's definitely different. That's definitely been tampered with. And then for the other expert to say, well, no, it could be original. You're like going, come on, mate. You've got to make a living after this. Don't do this to yourself. I know they're paying you a lot of money, but don't be that guy. So yeah, I think at the end of this, we left with the likability factor over anything else. More than anything else, we left with the likability factor, and no matter how this turns out, you know that Jonny Depp is going to be working by the end of the year. You know that he's probably going to be doing pretty all right for himself following this. Amber Heard, on the other hand, I think she's going to disappear for a while. I think no matter how this turns out, whether it's for her or against her, because I think a lot of people just don't believe her anymore. I don't think she's got any. I think she's ruined her credibility. I think she's ruined any reputation that she had. I think she's ruined any. I mean, let's be honest here. I think it all fell apart for her when they put her on the stand. Camille Vasquez started talking to her about her donations to charity. That's when it all went boom, 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 and it just couldn't stand the strain, because when it wasn't that she had made the pledges and hadn't given the money, that wasn't the issue for me anyway. The issue I had, and when I heard it, was like, so wait a minute, and Camille did point this out. She had the 7 million from Jonny Depp. She had it paid into her account over a period of time. It wasn't straight. It wasn't a whole 7 mil. There it is. But she had it paid over a period of time into her account, and then she was going to make donations of that 7 million to I believe one was to hospital and one was to victims of domestic abuse, something like that, I think. But it was 3.5 million one way, 3.5 million the other way. The 100,000 that went to each was paid by Jonny Depp. The rest of it stayed in her bank account. She still hasn't paid it. And the argument for that was that, well, she was being sued, not for 13 months after the final payment. And that was like, I don't care who you are, if you've got plenty of money. No, that's not even true. If you've got some money and you were gonna give it away, you don't hold on to it when you've already said I've already given it. And the frustrating part on that for me, and why that all fell apart, was the fact that she kept saying, I have donated it, I have donated it, I have donated it. And then, got to catch up soon. Yeah, no problem, man. Yeah. Hopefully we'll be back doing streams soon. So it's just, I am trying to work. I'm working on everything. So I'm working on my attic. I'm working on my garden. I'm digging the swimming pool. I'm just, plus back and forth the gym, back and forth work as well. So I'm just really, that's why I wanted to come on tonight, to be honest, so that I could get something going. Because I do miss doing these. So, but have a good one, man. Yeah, take care. Yeah, the whole thing with the donations was the fact that, oh, I've donated. And she was like, no, you've pledged. You haven't donated. So yeah, it's just been an absolute shit show for her. We're coming up to the hour. We've passed the hour, in fact. So I think I know Chris has popped off there. Thanks for joining us. Not a problem. I've been following the many projects. Thank you, man. I've been absolutely non-stop. So so it is difficult to manage. You've got to manage your time, and sometimes you're just exhausted, and you just think, I even though all I'm doing here is sitting down and having a conversation, sometimes you're just like, ugh, I don't know if I can. I just want to put my head down. But yeah, so that's why I think it's gone. That's why I think the court case has gone. That's what how I think. At the end of the day, the jury will decide what is going to happen. Who do I feel they're going to rule in favour of? That's a tough one, isn't it? If they have seen what we have seen, then hopefully, they will rule in favour of Jonny Depp. If they haven't been observing what has happened, or if they've got preconceived opinions about abusive relationships that are old-fashioned, whereby women can do no wrong, then it will sway to Amber Heard's way. But I'm not sure it will, because it seems like the jury is fairly young. So I think that what you're likely to see. Oh, this is a tough one. I'm gonna stick my neck out. I'm gonna stick my neck out and say that when this is over, the jury will find in favour of Jonny Depp. I hope. I think we've had enough evidence for Jonny Depp and zero evidence presented by Amber Heard's team. It's all hearsay, speculation, and nothing else. I think that this woman has just tried to exploit the narrative. I think she's tried to paint herself into a particular picture. It's got out of hand, and it needs to be stopped. So there we are. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this. We'll see what happens with the trial next week now, I guess. I think they're going to be done by Tuesday. I think that's where we're at. I'm not sure. I believe that, but I do think that they've got the Monday, and I think they've got a holiday on Monday. So I think they still are they still functioning on Monday? I think if they still function on Monday, then it'll be over by Tuesday. If not, then we're looking at Wednesday. So that's when we will find out the outcome to the Jonny Depp Amber Heard debacle. But I tell you what, I can't wait for season 2. Oh, season 2 is... If season 1's anything to go by, season 2 is going to be fantastic. Anyway, I'm going to end this here. You all take care.